Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. As you know, I like to play the devil's advocate because while everybody else is following suit, I'm always the one that likes to step out of line and get a lot of shit for it. And I'm cool with that. Somebody's got to do it. But I just wanted to quickly talk about playing the victim. You know, the word person comes from persona, which is derived from ancient Greek. The meaning behind person is mask. So when we say, what kind of a person are you? It just means, what kind of a mask do you wear? Because even then, you know, they knew that who we are isn't really who we are. But, you know, there seems to be a lot of argument about the details, the fine details of who we are. And I think really most of it's trivial. It's irrelevant details that can never be answered, the big questions. But I think we can all look in our hearts and know what's true. But playing the victim is a big part of society. And I know there's a lot of bad things that go on in my life, and there's a lot of bad things in everyone's life, but, you know, get over it. It's kind of what I've got to say. You know, it's like everybody's complaining about how somebody's holding them down and somebody's holding them back, and they're keeping them poor, and they're doing this and this. And while there are issues going on, we're talking about just basic life here. Like, you know, no one can hold you back from being who you are. And I've seen even some of the most horrifically starved or imprisoned people who have a really positive outlook, and so if those people can do it, then why can't we? But I just wanted to say no extremes, to an extent. No extremes. If you're going to try to seek answers in life, that's fine, but if you go to say being too aware is almost as bad as being not aware in some senses, because you know, of the way the mind works. But you know, letting others tell you what awareness is a good way to get yourself trapped. And that's why each of us can take today's knowledge that's available and use it to kind of find our own paths. And it's a wonderful thing, it really is. And there's a lot of angles to consider, but a couple points I wanted to make was put evil to work for you. You know, that's kind of like the playing the victim leads up to blaming evil or Satan or them for everything that happens. And you put evil to work for you in the sense that everything has a light, and there's always a light in the darkness. And darkness can never extinguish light, and light will always extinguish darkness. Light is always stronger. Therefore, I think that a lot of folks have it wrapped up in their head that there's a balance of good and evil, and it's just not that way. It's just not that way. There is no balance of good and evil. There are bad things that happen in the perception of the individual and in the perception of humanity. However, even if, let's say, something as horrible as humanity was wiped out tomorrow, yeah, that would be horrible for us, but in the big picture, it might be beneficial for society, or, sorry, for nature, not for society. I kind of look at awareness as the notes on a keyboard, and look at awakening as playing an instrument. And they're very similar in the sense that when you strike a key wrong, you know instantly, and you can hear it. And those vibrations can correlate with the invisible vibrations that we all endure every day, that we are not able to measure or explain. And those are the vibes. We just call them vibes. You know, you get a feeling about something, follow that, you know, and that's the odd note on the keyboard, and it will tell you when you're doing wrong. I'm a musician, and I know what it's like when you hit a chord that's bad. You can keep hitting that note over and over. Eventually you're going to get it right. And I think all of us are going to get it right. And be part of your own personal rapture. Now, the rapture that the Christians talk about, to me, is exactly identical to the Bodhisattva, or, you know, an awakening of the self and to life's purpose. And when you look at it like that, and you look at every culture and belief system like that, each one has its own idea of what an awakening is. Now, while many Christians may think Jesus is going to come down and take them away, that's not conducive with, you know, the life that we live and why we're here, in my opinion. But it would totally be explainable if it were an awakening or a self-awakening. So in that sense, it's all perception. It's how we perceive things in our lives. And by putting the negativity to work for you, you're basically, there's nothing stopping you. I mean, you're on top of the world. If you find the most horrific people doing the most horrific things and look for the most positive outcome of that, it could be really beneficial for each one of us. And I tried to explain this to someone when I had a debate. I was trying to use an example as they said, how could any good come out of dropping the atomic bombs in World War II? I said, well, I see the good right away. I see that the fact that they were dropped then just means that by the time everyone has the bomb, we've already seen what it can do. Perhaps if we'd waited 20 years, then there might have been many more dropped. It's all perception, and it's really important for us to just stand up strong, stand together, and not play the victim, and to remember that we are just people, which is based on us being persons or wearing our masks. I wear a mask like everyone else. I'm trying really hard not to have one, because when I get called out on shit, I look way deep in myself and say, is this true? If something irritates me that someone says, I think, am I mad just because they're an idiot? Or am I mad because I'm an idiot? And most of the time it's I'm an idiot, because I stopped letting ignorant comments get to me a long time ago. But really a lot to be said about the individual, how you perceive the world and how the world perceives you, completely different, and being able to kind of laugh everything off and realize that here we are, just doing this thing, you know? I mean, here I am rambling on this video about no real subject except just, you know, not taking your life to extremes, and here I am. I feel like I'm preaching. I feel like this is as close as I get to preaching, and I don't want to preach. That's not how I feel. I just feel like I'm preaching to a camera, like I'm talking to the camera. But, you know, it took me a while to adapt to that, and I hope one day that I can find a niche that I feel valid enough to make it worth speaking on. And I'd love to be a speaker, you know, do public forums, but I see so many of these guys, it's so hokey, and once they get some back behind them, they start to get these egos going, and so that keeps me at a distance from wanting to write a book or become a speaker or start getting into these subjects, because just like science is tied into each scientific discovery, likewise the mystical realm and the metaphysical realm also has these connotations that go along with it. Kind of like the psychic, the whole kind of behavior that psychics have, where it's like they're almost holier than thou sometimes, and not all. There's a lot of good people out there who are really well intended and doing the right thing, but I just don't want to get tied up in financial burden in my seeking for truth. But I guess all I can say to wrap it up is that I'm well aware that in the end, this is a lifelong search, and other people who are involved in seeking meanings behind why we're here and who we are and why we act the way we do, you're also going to find out in the end that you have two choices. Either you make it a lifelong search, or you find a religion or a belief system that you can adhere to that suits you. And that's fine too, if that works for people, as long as it doesn't exclude anyone. So any religion that excludes anyone is not valid, in my opinion. So here we are, finding our own little way to love one another and all that hokey pokey bullshit, peace and love and rainbows and all that. So, I don't know what else to say. I feel like I repeat myself a lot, and that's okay, because these videos help me as much as, probably a lot more than anyone else, because I feel like I can express myself, and if I don't do this, and if I don't practice expressing myself, then I get rusty on it. It's just like art. I'm an artist, and when I don't play music for a while, I get rusty on it. If I don't draw for a while, I get really bad at drawing, and so on. So goes with the same with awareness. If you're not constantly on the search for truth, then you might miss something. So, peace.